I can't promise that this is going to get you every book that you want, but it might get you like 2 more. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am going to take you through some tips on how to really boss your Netgalley game. If you've never heard of Netgalley before, don't worry. Netgalley is a website where publishers upload advanced copies of the books that they're going to be releasing in the next couple of months or so. It gives professional book reviewers and librarians and booksellers and everybody who works with books on a daily basis, it gives them the chance to read it before the book comes out so that they can generate a bit of hype about it. At the moment, there isn't a lot of book events happening in the world. There aren't so many book launches going on in the world. So having these kind of Netgalley reviewers is huge for books right now. If you can help out, do not hesitate to sign up for it because it will be invaluable to the publishers and the authors that you're going to help out. So how do you sign up for Netgalley? You go to netgalley.com, netgalley.co.uk, netgalley.de. You go to netgalley.com, netgalley.co.uk, netgalley.de, netgalley.f or netgalley.jp. Depending on where you're from, those are some kind of core areas as to where Netgalley will take you from. So there's one for the US, one for the UK, one for Germany, one for France, and one for Japan. Obviously, these locale will publish in the native language. So German Netgalley will have a big amount of German Netgalley books, but Netgalley UK will have quite a lot of English language books. So depending on what language you want to read in, it might be better to look on the books there. A big tip for using Netgalley, and something that quite a lot of publishers are stringent about, is that you should be a book reviewer or some kind of a book professional. Some are a little bit more lenient about this and will just take somebody who's reviewing on Amazon or on Goodreads, but you should have some kind of a platform on which you review books that isn't just one of those two. For example, you could be a book blogger, you could be a booktuber like I am, you could be a bookseller, you could be a librarian, you could run a book club. If you have a place where you regularly talk about books and do a lot of book hype, you will have a really good chance of getting some great books. One of the basic things that you can have for a Netgalley account is a Netgalley profile. Don't forget to keep your profile as up to date as you can. If your stats have changed, do put that in. If you've gotten more Twitter followers, if you've gotten more blog followers, if you've gotten more Goodreads friends, do put that in as soon as you've noticed a change, because publishers will be keeping an eye on that kind of thing, and that does influence whether or not you get approved for the book that you've just requested. Don't forget to also put in the authors that you really like, maybe the authors that you don't like, or the genres that you don't like reading, but do put in the genres that you do like reading. That will also influence whether or not you get approved for this book. When you're just starting out, take out a couple of the read now books. Don't worry so much about approval ratings. Don't worry so much about requesting books. If you get declined, don't worry too much about it. Don't lean on it too much. Just go on for the next couple of books. But I would recommend taking out a couple of read now books at the start, maybe like 5 or 6 just to start you off. Review them as quickly as you can, read through them as quickly as you can, review them as thoroughly as you can, and watch your feedback ratio kind of step up a little bit. When you've got a quite high feedback ratio, the recommended number is 80%. But when you've got a kind of a high feedback ratio, it gives publishers an idea that you are regularly reading the books that are sent out, that you're reviewing them regularly, and that you are somebody that they can depend on to put the word out for the book that you've just requested. I've just mentioned the feedback ratio. Pay attention to it. Try and keep it as high as you can, and don't let it fall too low, maybe like 40 or 50%. Try and keep it somewhere between 60 to 80%. 80 is your goal. And once you get over 80%, that's kind of what publishers are going to be looking for. But if you can get it anywhere between 60 and 80, you're still doing pretty okay. I think at the moment I'm sitting at around 70, 71%, which does mean that I've got quite a lot of books already reviewed that have been sent to me, but I've still got quite a lot in my back catalogue as well that I really need to get to. And as soon as I start building those back up, as soon as I start reading them, reviewing them, and then my feedback ratio will change and it will develop, publishers might then notice that I'm active on the site, that I'm still reading, that I'm engaging with the books that have been sent out to me, and then they'll be a lot more comfortable with approving the books that I've requested. Speaking of requests, don't go request happy. You can, if you want, request 10 books with the thought that you might not get approved for all 10, which is pretty likely. But it also is quite likely that you might get approved for all 10 of them. Then you have 10 extra books that you've got to add onto your already pretty high TBR. It's going to bring your feedback ratio down quite a lot. And think about it. For every 10 books that you've been approved, you need to read 8 of them to bring your ratio up to where you need it to be. You need to kind of stretch it out a little bit so that you're not reviewing too much, but you're also not requesting too much. Try and find a little happy medium. Be careful of the publishing date. Keep an eye on it, and also keep an eye on the archive date. Try and have your review up as close to the publishing date as you can so the publishers know that you are actually reading the book. And if you're going to review it elsewhere, like on a YouTube channel or on your Goodreads account or on your blog, then do add the link into your review as well. There's a little section where you can add in the links to an external review. Definitely make use of that because it will drive traffic to your blog. It will make your blog look a lot more professional, and it will make you look like you're somebody who really engages in the book community. That is something that the publishers are desperate. Also, I've mentioned the archive date just now. That's slightly different to the publication date. It can be earlier, it can be later. The archive date is the time when Netgalley will close off the downloads for this book. If the book's archive date is the 30th of June, then you have up until the 30th of June to download it onto your device. If you try and read it on the 1st of July, you're kind of shit out of luck. So do keep an eye on the archive dates, because the sooner you download it to your device and try and get to read it, the sooner you can build back up your feedback ratio. I always try and check into my emails or check into my Netgalley account every couple of days just to see if I've gotten any more approvals, just to see what the story is. And if I've gotten approval, I will download it to my Kindle immediately. As soon as I notice it, I hit that button. If you've been requesting from a publisher for quite a while, but you've actually been declined more often than you've been approved, take a look at their approval preferences. Maybe they're looking for something that you already have, but you haven't included it in your Netgalley profile for some reason. Maybe they're looking for somebody who's active on Goodreads. You can put your Goodreads account into your profile. Maybe they're looking for somebody who's a book blogger. Put your book blog into your profile. Try and match up what you do as closely as you can to what the approval preferences are, and you will be surprised. You might get approved for more books than you think you would. One of the most basic things is being able to read the book. And there are some books that are sent as a protected PDF where it's a little bit harder to read those. But for the majority of books on Netgalley, it's so simple. You just need to have access to a Kindle or a Kindle account. And that's free. You can download the Kindle app to your phone. It's on Android, it's on iPhone, it's on every phone that you can get. You can also have an actual Kindle. You can do it whatever you want to do, but do have access to an e-reader so that you can actually read the books that they're sent out to you. Don't forget, you need to put Kindle at netgalley.co.uk or whatever the domain for the Netgalley that you're on. You need to add that to your approved email addresses so that you can actually access the books. Don't forget to do that, because I kind of did. Try not to request a book that you're not interested in. If you're not a thrillers fan, don't go requesting 5 thrillers that you're never going to read and then think that are really old. It's not really going to help out you, it's not going to help out the publisher, and it's definitely not going to help out the author who's put in a lot of hard work into this book. Try and be consistent with your reading goals and try and be consistent with your reading preferences. Try and space everything out evenly. So don't, in June, apply for 17 books that are being published in June and 5 that are being published in September. Try and spread it out a little bit evenly so that you have some books that are being published in June, some that are being published in July, and then August, and then September. And then you can request a couple more that are being published in, say, October, November, December kind of time, because you'll have a little bit more time to get to those books for when the publication date will come. Let's talk about reviews. One thing that I really don't like about this site is the one-liner reviews that some people do leave. The kind of reviews that are like, this book was really great and I really enjoyed it and I'm really glad that I got to read it. Thank you for letting me read it. Reviews like that aren't engaging. Reviews like that aren't eye-catching, and reviews like that don't make me want to read this book. When you're reviewing a book, you want to make your love of this book shine. You want to make people pick this book up. So do keep that in the back of your head when you're thinking about how you're going to write your review. What did you really enjoy about this book? Don't just say you really enjoyed it. Go into some details. Tell us what you enjoyed. Were the characters really great people? Was it in a really great setting? Was there some really good conflict halfway through the book? Was it dealt with pretty well? One thing, avoid spoilers. Nobody likes a spoiler. If you know how bad it is when you've been spoiled, you're going to understand why you shouldn't put spoilers into your reviews. The last point, just have fun with Netgalley. It is one of the world's best reviewing resources, and it does seem like quite a lot of work, but it's so much fun and it's really rewarding to see books that so many people have put so much love and effort and time into. To be approved for one of their books is kind of like a badge of honor that they trust you to get the word out there for a book that they love so much. Don't forget that when you're writing your reviews. Those are some tips that I have for how you can really boost your Netgalley game. Are you a Netgalley user? What's been your favorite thing about the site? Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now get on out of here.